Good morning, colleagues. I just wanted to check in with you about the results of the little survey that I sent out last week. The responses are running about 2 to 1 in favor of doing more videos. So I'm probably going to focus on videos a little bit more. But I also wanted to respond to the advice that I got from some of you. It was all excellent advice and stuff that I've been thinking about on my own. And so I'll respond to the advice that I've received. Someone said, and again, remember your comments are entirely anonymous. I have no idea who's responding unless you sign your comments, as one person did, but otherwise I have no idea. So one person said, and I agree entirely, the videos tend to be a little bit too long. That's largely my fault. I tend to treat a video lecture pretty much the same as a classroom lecture, and if you've ever been in a classroom with me, you know that my lectures are never formal. I never stand up and read my notes from behind the podium, but my lectures are really more like conversations, and I try to get students involved in talking but the fact of a less formal lecture is that I tend to wander off a little bit. So my response to that is, whoever said that, you're right on, and I totally agree. I'm going to try to make these shorter and try to stay more on the point, but I won't give you more than about 10 or 12 minutes in any given lecture, except this one may run a little bit longer because I'm doing two things. I'm responding to the videos, and I'm going to give you the intro to the next unit. Somebody else mentioned background noise. Again, something I totally understand. I've tried sitting in different places in the house, and for one thing, I keep forgetting to turn off the clock, as you've noticed. But this room I'm sitting in right now is my home office, and as you can see from the shape of the roof, it's the ceiling. It's up underneath the eaves of the house, and it seems to be the quietest room in the house, although there's sometimes, when I play the videos back, sometimes a weird sort of an echo that I think may be created by the shape of the ceiling in here, but it seems to be the quietest room in the house, so I'm going to use this room exclusively. Somebody else suggested that I should edit out some of the extraneous material. I also agree, but I don't know how to do that. It's beyond my skill set to edit videos. I'm sure it's probably not that hard to learn. And I am enrolled in a graduate level seminar on how to produce educational videos, and so I'm sure I'll figure out how to do that. But for right now, I just don't know how to do it. And finally, someone suggested, also a very good suggestion, that I give you a little written overview, bullet point kind of thing with each lecture. So I've made one for this lecture, and you'll see it up there on the website. And I'll try to do that. That'll help keep you on track and keep me on track. Okay, so I appreciate your input from those few of you who have given me some input. For the folks who haven't, I'll leave the thing open. You can, I'll put the link up in the announcements. You can respond anytime you want to. I would appreciate your input. We're, as you may know, on a peripheral matter, the college is switching from Blackboard to Canvas, which is another online management system. And that change is going to take place, the switch is going to take place this summer. So by the time, if you take a summer class, or by the time you come back in the fall, we will be completely migrated to Canvas. It's very similar to Blackboard. I've had fairly substantial training in it already, and it doesn't look that much different. But that'll probably require both the students and the instructors to learn a few new tricks and things like that. Okay, so that's it. Our next unit is a visual unit, a visual rhetoric unit, as you will see when you read Chapter 8 in Wilhoit. And Chapter 8 in Wilhoit is the main lecture for this week. This lecture that I'm going to give you now just gives you a little bit of background. But it is true that, especially in the world that you all live in, or most of you live in, and for most of our fellow citizens, 80 to 90% of the information that you receive comes in visually. It's things you see. And sometimes it comes in so quickly. Mr. Tufte here suggests, 10 million? Yeah, 10 million bits per second. So it comes in so quickly that we can't possibly filter all of it. We can't possibly even perceive it consciously, all of it. And that is why advertising and other kinds of subliminal messages work so well, because they can go directly from the retina to the brain and be registered as information before the conscious part of our mind even realizes that it's taken a hit. We'll do some exercises next week with advertising that will help us, I think, focus on that a little bit more. So the reason for this visual unit and the essay that you're going to write is the world is increasingly becoming a visual place, and increasingly less written, verbal, and much more visual. So the information that all of us are going to be receiving in some kind of a visual format is going to increase and increase and increase, and our skills to understand visual rhetoric have not increased at the same pace. And so in the last, I say, 5-7 years, composition classes like this have been including a lesson on visual rhetoric, simply because whether we like it or not, and I don't like it, but whether we happen to like it or not, it's a fact of our students and our fellow citizens that reading is becoming a more esoteric art, and seeing visual stuff, because we're saturated with it, is becoming the chosen way that information is displayed. So a student who can be taught to, examine an essay and look for the thesis statement and the support systems in the paragraphs and the adequacy or inadequacy of the evidence and all that, a student can be taught that with a written essay. A student can also be taught the same thing with a visual argument. Visual arguments are actually fairly simple most of the time. You think of advertising and propaganda and the other kinds of things that you see on TV. Basically, the argument is, I want you to buy this product or vote for this person or change your belief to believe another way, or agree with me, or something. There's some thesis that can be identified in all visual rhetoric, and the thesis is, I want you to respond in some way. And so it is possible to think of a visual piece of visual rhetoric as an ad that one can unpack once one isolates the thesis. If I give you an essay and it's got a faulty thesis in it that I don't support in the body of my paper, you can say, well, you don't support your thesis. There's no proof that your thesis is accurate. You can do exactly the same thing with advertising and other visual rhetoric. It's just that we don't train ourselves to do this, and it's challenging in different ways because there's so much of it coming at us all the time, every waking moment. And I think it's probably one of the most important things that we could be doing for our students is to give our students training in unpacking visual rhetoric and examining the claims of visual rhetoric, and then examining whether the evidence is true. This goes back to the little fallacy hunt exercise that we did a few weeks ago. It was designed to lead into this project. And you remember we had the little discussion about the guy that buys the shirt that makes him unique because he's the only guy in the world that has that shirt. That's what the ad says. But if only that guy buys that shirt, the ad fails. And if everybody sees that shirt and wants to be unique and buys that shirt, the ad succeeds, but it's a lie, because then you're not unique. If you've got the same shirt everybody else has, you're not unique. So the ad either fails or it's a lie. And it's possible to make those judgments in the same way that we can come to an essay argument and say, no, that's not true right there, or at least you haven't proven that it's true, because you, sorry, there goes the phone. Sorry. It's possible to come to a piece of written rhetoric and say, no, your thesis is not true. You're not supporting your thesis, and so forth. It's possible to do the same thing. So this week we're going to be doing work with the one advertisement that's in your Wilhoit text, and we'll be discussing that. It's going to be a relatively light week in the forums this week, but you should be thinking about the essay for this unit. We're going to need to move through this one fairly quickly. We have 2 more papers to write. One is this one, and one is the big capstone researched argument project at the end. I like to allow 4 weeks to do the capstone project. It seems like that's the best for most people to be able to manage it without going crazy. So we need to leave the last 4 weeks of the term for that, which gives us, I believe, 3 weeks to work on this one. So start thinking, once you've read Wilhoit, you'll understand the project and what we're going for. Then you can start looking around for ads. Political ads are gold mines for these things. Any kind of advertising on television or in print are gold mines for these things. And you may find something else you want to analyze and look at. Okay, so I'm going to stop now. I'm trying to keep it as short as possible. Sorry about the little bit of background noise. I forgot about my stupid phone. I'm going to get this up there for you, and then this is the lecture. This and Wilhoit is the lecture for the week, and then the discussion questions will be the discussions for the week. Okay? Thank you very much. Having a wonderful day. See you soon. Bye.